Hi, Mr. Recaps here. The events of the Turkish film begin with the teacher Mar, who is arguing with his wife because he is trying to convince her to move to live with him in a village far from the city. The Ministry of Education has decided to appoint a teacher for the village students, but Mar's wife refuses to travel with him because she does not want her daughters to be taught in the village. Education in the countryside is worse than education in the city. Mar finally decides to go to the village alone. Then he says goodbye to his family and gets on the train. After that, he gets on a car and thinks that the driver of the car will take him directly to the village. But after getting out of the car, he discovers that he has to continue the road towards the village on foot. The path to reach the village seems bumpy and not easy. Mar finally arrives at the village and finds the men of the village waiting for him. They raise their guns on him because they notice that he is a stranger to the village. But Mar tells them that he is the teacher who was appointed by the Ministry of Education to teach the children of the village. The men of the village seem reassured by his presence. One of the men of the village named Mukhtar welcomes Mar. He asks him about the school where he will be working, but the men of the village surprise him by saying that there is no school in the village. Mar seems to be very surprised. Then he leaves with Mukhtar to take a break. On the way, Mar notices the village children who were beating a mentally handicapped man. Mukhtar tells Mar that the disabled man is his son Yusuf. Then he tries to know Mar better and tells him that he's the father of 6 men and so many girls that he doesn't know how many because they are getting married and go straight with their men. Mar is surprised when the village men tell him that they don't allow girls to study because education is limited to men only. Teacher Mar tells the men of the village that they have to go to the municipality to build a school in the village. But Mukhtar responds to him with disappointment and tells him that they cannot reach the municipality because the mountain road is bumpy and the only means of transport only reaches the village every 3 days. A school can be built after 30 years. Everyone thinks of a way to find a place for the village children to study. Then Mar suggests teaching the children in the stable after emptying it of animals and cleaning it. But Mar rejects the idea because children are not animals. The next day, it is noticed that Mar began to adapt to the climate of the village and its inhabitants, who were happy to have him with them. Mukhtar meets his sons and asks them who he would like to marry, and it seems that a lot of his sons are thinking about marriage, and even Yusuf wants to get married despite his physical and intellectual disability. Mukhtar chooses his eldest son and gives him an opportunity to get married. Then he asks his wife to choose a virgin girl from the village to be the wife of his eldest son Jalal, who quickly runs to his mother and tells her the specifications of his wife. The funny thing is that he wants his wife to be beautiful. Her hair is yellow and her teeth are beautiful. Jalal's mother finds a girl with the same specifications mentioned by her son Jalal, then tries to test her and asks her about cooking and religion, and the girl passes the test. But the only flaw of the girl is that her teeth are bad. However, Jalal's mother agrees that the girl should be her son's wife because all her answers were correct. At the wedding, Jalal looks at his future wife and is shocked when he notices that her teeth are bad. But he gives into the fait accompli and ends up marrying her. The next day, Mar goes with Mukhtar to the municipality to ask to build a school in the village. But they fail and then return to the village. Mar tells Mukhtar that he must return to his country as he will not be able to teach the children of the village without providing a proper school. It seems that Mukhtar is sad because of Mar's departure. Suddenly, Mar reverses his decision and returns to Mukhtar. He tells him that he has decided to stay in the village on the condition that they let the village girls study as well as the men. Mukhtar is happy with Mar's return and accepts his idea. Mar calls his wife and lies to her that the bandits have kidnapped him and demand a ransom of $2,000. It seems that his wife believes his words and sends him the required amount. But Mar's goal of cheating on his wife is to get enough money to build a school in the village. The villagers and bandits also volunteer to help Mar build the school. After the construction work is finished, Mar and everyone celebrate the construction of the first school in the village. Mar cuts the ribbon of its opening. Then the first day of school begins, and Yusuf watches him from the school window. After the school day ends, Mar notices again that the children are beating Yusuf and tries to keep them away from him. The next day, Yusuf's mother finds out that her son Yusuf is missing. Everyone is worried about him because they know he has an intellectual disability. Then they are surprised to find him with teacher Mar at school. He learns like the rest of the children. It seems that Yusuf's family is happy with the teacher Mar, who was able to do something that the doctors could not do. Yusuf learned to write well, and his family is happy with the development of his educational level, as he became the only one who knows how to write among his brothers. The next day, Mar tries to teach Yusuf some sports exercises so that he can move his hand and body organs. In winter, one of Mukhtar's sons named Deniz returns to the village again because he escaped from there after killing one of the villagers. After his arrival, Deniz asks his father where his son is. He finds out then he studies in the new school. At school, Yusuf reacts so much to the atmosphere of the school that he answers Mar's questions and tries to say a few words. The children greet him for his attempts. Mar comes out of the school and finds Mukhtar and his son Deniz, who thank him for his efforts to teach Yusuf. The next day, Mukhtar again chooses one of his sons to marry him to a village girl. The son tells his mother that he would like to marry a girl whose eyes are blue. His mother finds a girl suitable for him and tests her like she did with the first girl. But the only flaw of the new girl is that her eyes are abnormal. We return to Deniz, who decides to go to the police. The judge sentences him to 4 years in prison because he was under the influence of drugs when he killed one of the village men. After the end of the trial, Mukhtar sees someone trying to shoot an old man, then intervenes to save him. The old man thanks Mukhtar and tells him that he would like to return the favor. He offers to marry his daughter to one of his sons if he has an unmarried son. But Mukhtar tells him that his only son, who is still not married, is physically and mentally disabled, and he means Yusuf. But the old man is adamant about returning the favor to Mukhtar and does not care about his son's illness. Mukhtar informs his son Yusuf about the news of his marriage, and it seems that Yusuf is happy with the news because he wanted also to marry like his brothers. The women of the village and Yusuf's mother go to meet Yusuf's future wife, but his brothers make fun of him because they know that his mother will choose a wife for him who has flaws like their wives. Yusuf's mother arrives at the girl's house and finds out that her name is Mazakin, who is considered a religious girl, virgin, and smart in cooking too. The marriage will be done according to customs and traditions. Suddenly, Mazakin enters, and all the women of the village are surprised by her beauty. The mother of Yusuf cries because of the severity of Mazakin's beauty and realizes that a girl with such beauty does not deserve to marry her son Yusuf. On the day of marriage, the father and mother of Mazakin are very sad that their daughter is marrying a useless man, but they cannot reverse the decision to marry Mazakin, who is also crying. The women of the village try to console her because destiny has planned this strange coincidence. Yusuf is so impressed by the beauty of Mazakin that he loses consciousness. His brothers enter the room to save him and are also impressed by the beauty of Mazakin, who finally decides to take care of Yusuf. The next day, Mazakin has lunch with his new family, and Yusuf's mother kisses her hand and thanks her for taking care of her son Yusuf. After several days, Mazakin meets the village girls, who make fun of her and say they would rather die than marry a man of the same description as Yusuf. Mazakin gets angry and quickly runs to a secluded place to empty her sorrow and tears. The village men try to harass Yusuf and tell him that someone like him is not worthy to marry a beautiful girl like Mazakin. Yusuf gets very angry and goes with his horse to the edge of the mountain and gazes at the sky, and sadness fills his eyes. The next day, Yusuf notices that the village girls are fighting with Mazakin. Then he tries to save her, but one of the girls tells him that Mazakin is unable to bear her presence with him. Yusuf is very upset, then gets on his horse and heads again towards the edge of the mountain to throw himself from above. The teacher Mar intervenes in time and saves Yusuf at the last moment, then takes him to school and asks him to write to him the problem which is bothering him. The next day, Yusuf and his Mazakin wife disappear from the village as if the earth had swallowed them, and it seems that Yusuf left a letter in his room. Professor Mar reads Yusuf's letter, in which he says that he had to leave the village because no one understands his suffering, and all the villagers make fun of him. Besides, he feels that he has become responsible for himself after his marriage with Mazakin and decided to leave for her and not for himself. Then he asked his father and brothers in the letter to take care of his horse. The next day, the teacher Mar says goodbye to the villagers as he will return to his town and tells them that he will never forget them. For years later, Mar returns to the village with his wife and daughters, then he greets the villagers who welcome him back. But he tells them he has a surprise for them. The surprise Mar talks about is the return of Yusuf, who has become handsome and moves naturally. But the villagers believe he has undergone plastic surgery to change his shape. Mazakin appears also with his little daughter, and Yusuf greets his black horse. Yusuf tells the villagers that he changed on his own without the help of any doctor for the sake of his Mazakin wife because his sincere love for her gave him the inspiration and courage to change his life. Yusuf had very lucky because destiny chose him to marry the glamorous Mazakin girl, unlike his brothers who made fun of Yusuf. At the end of the film, we would like to tell you, gentlemen viewers, that love can change destiny, so don't lose hope. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you like the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.